Hello. In this video, we'll be going over IRS Form 15086, Offer and Compromise Public Inspection File Request. So if you're familiar with offers and compromise submitted on Form 656, you know that the offer is initiated by the taxpayer, but then accepted by the IRS. And so an offer and compromise simply is an agreed to settlement between the taxpayer and the IRS, where the IRS will accept less than the amount of taxes, penalties, and interest owed by the taxpayer for one of several reasons. We do cover what those reasons are in our resources we've created on IRS Form 7249, the Offer Acceptance Report. We'll put those links in the show notes. But this is about the form that you can use to request a previously posted Form 7249. So many people don't know that the Offer Acceptance Report is officially created by the IRS upon the acceptance of a submitted offer, and it's made available by request to the public, to anyone in the public, for up to 1 year after the date of acceptance of an offer and compromise. So the Form 7249 contains limited information, such as the taxpayer's name, the liability amount, and the offer terms. So if you want to see this information, you can use Form 15086 to submit a new offer or to request a previously approved offer. However, you can't use it to submit a new offer or to inquire about an open offer. And you do have to have the form complete. So this is something that people may use to compare the offer that they may be about to submit to one that the IRS has previously requested. However, there's probably not that's probably not the best reason to obtain this report. So if you're looking for something that you can use to game the system, this probably would not work for several reasons. And we do outline those in our article, which you can find the links to in our show notes. However, there are people that do work in the field of offers and compromise, and they use previously accepted offers for comparison purposes routinely. In order to submit the request, you do have to have the information about a specifically accepted offer. So we're going to identify that here as specifically as possible. Let's see, offer number. I'm just going to make up something. I'm just putting in a blank offer. That there's no. I'm not particularly concerned right off the top of my head with what the numbering convention is. You would have to have the actual offer number in your offer request. So you can put in as much detail as you want. It should be based on an offer that you've seen or that you're familiar with, and you're just requesting a copy. So you can request either by mail or by fax. The IRS does prefer fax, and you can fax your request to here. If you are looking to have it submitted by, or if you're looking to receive it by mail, you're going to need to allow up to 20 business days. If you're receiving it by fax, then the IRS should be able to respond within 15 business days. So we'll request it by fax just to make it a little bit faster. And so you can either put that you are requesting this for your personal reasons or on behalf of a client. So there are instructions. You would fax your request. Again, that's the preferred way that the IRS will receive this. The fax number is at the bottom of the form, 855-286-3809. Or you can mail your request to the IRS location in Memphis, Tennessee. Address right there, IRS PIF request, offer and compromise, mail stop 880 on 5333 Getwell Road in Memphis, Tennessee. Only fax or mail one request to the IRS office so that they can process it. So again, 15 days for responses by fax, 20 days if you mailed it. So, and then at the bottom there is some space for IRS use only, basically the date that the offer or the request was completed. So this is a pretty straightforward form. We do go into detail about how you could use this and actually why you would not want to in our article. There are better ways to be able to come up with an offer and compromise that the IRS would accept. For example, the offer and compromise pre-qualifier tool is an excellent tool where you can actually submit information. And again, your information needs to be supported by the facts stated in your collection information statement. So, a previously accepted offer may have a completely different collection information statement, which has the assets and income that the IRS uses to make their determination, which is, why a previously accepted offer might not be the best way to gauge this, because there's information that is missing from the form 7249 that you would not have access to. So again, probably better off using the pre-qualifier tool if you want to get basic information about submitting an offer. However, this is a tool that's open to the public. It's free and available for anyone to use. So we cover it in this video. We'll put links in the show notes to resources we've created about everything to do with offers and compromise, including the offer and compromise form 656, collection information statements, offer acceptance reports, and what to do if your offer and compromise is rejected. So we'll put links in the show notes to all of those resources. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or if there's another topic that you'd like to see in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day.